There's something that happens when a man stops chasing pleasure. Something subtle, invisible, yet undeniable. He walks differently. He talks differently. He breathes differently. It's as if his soul starts taking up more space in the room, and what's even more mysterious is that girls can feel it. Not always consciously, but instinctively. Like an ancient radar hidden deep within them starts to hum the moment he walks by. This isn't magic. It's not fake confidence. It's energy, raw, masculine energy. An energy that's been sleeping inside most men their entire lives, buried under distraction, lust, and endless stimulation. When you stop releasing your power mindlessly, when you choose discipline over indulgence, purpose over pleasure, you begin to radiate something primal. Something women can sense instantly, even if they can't explain it. Because the truth is, attraction is not only physical, it's vibrational, it's psychological, it's spiritual. It's not just the body she notices, it's the energy your body is carrying. And when you practice NoFap, when you retain that sacred life force inside you, you begin to carry an energy that's rare. Rare because it's real. Most men today are drained, distracted, divided within themselves. But the man on NoFap, he's charged, alive, present, and a woman's intuition, that ancient, mysterious gift of sensing male energy, feels it instantly. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how certain men walk into a room and suddenly the atmosphere changes? No words, no fancy clothes, no loud energy. Just presence. It's not confidence, it's contained power. The kind of power that doesn't need to prove itself. The kind of power that says, I know who I am and I'm not wasting myself chasing you. That energy cannot be faked. It has to be earned through struggle, through control, through moments when you could give in, but you don't. When a man stops being ruled by his urges, he becomes something far more attractive than good looks or status could ever create. He becomes grounded. He becomes centered. He becomes magnetic, and women, they're drawn to that. They might not say it. They might not even understand it consciously, but their biology does. Their nervous system does. Their energy responds to yours before a single word is spoken. This is not about manipulation or ego. This is about becoming the man you were always meant to be. A man whose presence speaks louder than his words. A man whose eyes hold calmness instead of craving. A man whose body vibrates with the quiet confidence of self-mastery. Now let's go deeper. Why do women sense your NoFap energy? Why does retention seem to change how you're perceived, even without saying a word? The answer lies in 3 layers: psychology, biology, and spiritual energy. Let's break it down. Psychologically, when you retain, you shift from being needy to being fulfilled. See, most men operate from scarcity. They seek validation through lust. They scroll endlessly, consume endlessly, and drain themselves to feel a moment of pleasure. But when you stop, when you begin to control that urge, you send a message to your subconscious. I am enough. That message changes your body language, your tone, your confidence. You start to move slower, speak deeper, think clearer. Because you're no longer chasing, you're leading. And women are biologically drawn to leaders, not followers of their own desires. Biologically, your body changes too. Your testosterone begins to stabilize. Your dopamine receptors reset. Your posture improves as your inner focus grows stronger. And here's the part people underestimate. Your eyes. There's a brightness that comes from within. A spark that no supplement, no cologne, no haircut can replicate. It's the light of self-control. When a girl looks at you, she doesn't just see your face, she feels your vibration. The tiny subconscious cues that your body gives off. The way you hold eye contact, the calm in your breath, the absence of desperation. And those cues, they're ancient. They tell her one simple truth. This man has control over himself. And deep down, women know a man who can control his desires can also protect, provide, and lead. That's the kind of masculine energy nature designed them to respond to. But there's another layer, the spiritual one. The unseen frequency you emit when your life force is intact. Every man carries within him an electrical magnetic field, an energy that flows through every heartbeat, every thought, every breath. When you release it constantly, it weakens. When you retain it, it strengthens. You literally vibrate differently. Your aura expands. You feel more alive, more connected to yourself, more aligned with your purpose. And that spiritual signal, that vibration, is something women have evolved to detect without even realizing it. It's not witchcraft. It's intuition, ancient feminine wisdom that reads energy before logic. A woman might say, "I don't know why, but there's something different about you." That something is your NoFap energy. It's your masculine essence radiating quietly into the world. And here's the truth most men don't realize. NoFap isn't just about not doing something. It's about becoming something. It's not just abstinence, it's alchemy. You're taking the most primal creative energy within you, the same force that can create life, and you're refining it into power, focus, and confidence. When you transmute that energy, your body starts building it, storing it, radiating it. Your eyes sharpen, your voice deepens, your posture straightens. You stop leaking your power and start projecting it. That's what women feel. That's what people respect. That's what turns you from ordinary to unforgettable. Let's imagine something for a second. You wake up one morning after a week of retention. You look in the mirror. Your eyes feel sharper. Your mind quieter. You stand there. And for the first time in a long time, you don't feel empty. You feel alive. And that aliveness, that fullness, it radiates. It's not something you have to show off. It's something people just feel around you. You go outside. You're walking down the street, not chasing anyone, not hoping for attention. And yet, you notice it. The glance. The double take. The soft smile from a girl passing by. You didn't say a word. You didn't do anything. But something about your presence shifted. That's the NoFap energy. That's the magnetic signal your body and soul send when they're aligned again. Now, here's the interesting part. Women have evolved to detect energy stability. For millions of years, survival depended on being able to sense safety, power, and intention, especially from men. A man's scent, tone, posture, and presence carry invisible data. Biologists call it pheromonal communication. Subtle hormonal signals that influence attraction. Psychologists call it nonverbal dominance. But spiritually, it's simply frequency alignment. When you retain your energy, your internal frequency changes. You're not leaking dopamine every day through screens or short-term pleasure. You're not addicted to the chase anymore. You're centered. And that stillness and that groundedness creates a vibration that women instinctively read as safety and strength. They can feel when a man is calm in his body. They can feel when a man's energy is contained and directed. It's in the way you move, the way you pause, the way your presence fills the silence. But there's a reason why most men never reach this level. Because it's hard. It's easier to give in. It's easier to chase stimulation than to sit in silence with your own power. And that's why the men who do master it, the ones who endure the cravings, the temptations, the loneliness, become different beings. They don't just hold energy. They become energy. Think of it like fire. Most men burn out fast. Quick bursts of flame, gone in seconds. But the man on NoFap learns to contain that fire. He becomes a furnace, steady, glowing, unstoppable. That steady flame is what women feel. That steady flame is what commands respect. Here's a story. There was a young man who struggled with confidence all his life. He tried everything, new clothes, new haircuts, self-help books. Nothing changed. One day he came across the idea of NoFap. At first he laughed. How could something so small matter? He thought. But he tried it anyway. The first week was hell. His mind screamed. His body demanded relief, but he stayed firm. After 2 weeks, something strange happened. He started walking differently, not because he was trying to, but because he felt different. People started noticing. Friends asked if he'd been working out. A girl who'd never talked to him before suddenly smiled at him, and it wasn't because he looked different. It was because he was different. He had stopped giving away the one thing that defined his masculine essence, his life force. And the world could feel it. That's not coincidence. That's the energy shift, the invisible transformation that turns men into magnets. Now let's go deeper into the science of it. When you retain, your testosterone doesn't just stay, it stabilizes. Studies have shown that after a few days of retention, testosterone levels begin to climb. But that's only part of the story. What really matters isn't just the number, it's what testosterone does to your mind. Higher testosterone increases focus, drive, assertiveness. It makes you more comfortable taking up space. It aligns you with purpose. And when combined with discipline, it gives birth to something far greater than confidence. It gives birth to presence. Your body language changes automatically. You hold eye contact without fear. Your movements slow down, not out of hesitation, but out of control. And those tiny subconscious signals tell everyone around you, I'm grounded. I'm in command. Women sense that on a level they can't explain. They'll describe it as a strong vibe or say, he's got something different about him. That's not luck. That's biology responding to your inner mastery, but the transformation isn't only chemical. It's spiritual too. Retention begins to purify your mind. Because when you stop escaping into pleasure, you're forced to face yourself. You start to confront your emptiness, your desires, your purpose, and in that confrontation, you grow. You begin to channel that sexual energy into creation, into your goals, your art, your mission, your health. You start to radiate life instead of chasing it. The ancient yogis called this ojas, the essence of vitality, the life nectar stored within the body. They believed that when conserved and transmuted, it rises up through the spine, illuminating the mind and awakening higher consciousness. You start feeling this too, not as some mystical light, but as a deep awareness that your energy is precious, that you're not meant to waste it but to use it. When you live that way, your eyes glow differently. Your voice vibrates with conviction. Your aura becomes magnetic. And yes, women sense it instantly. But here's the truth. This power doesn't come from simply avoiding pleasure. It comes from transforming it. When you hold that energy and transmute it through action, when you train, read, build, create, that energy evolves. It refines itself. It becomes purpose. Think of your energy like water. If it just sits still, it stagnates. But if it flows towards something meaningful, it becomes a river, powerful, unstoppable, life-giving. And women, consciously or not, can sense where your river is flowing. If it's flowing toward chaos and lust, they feel it as instability. If it's flowing toward purpose and mastery, they feel it as attraction. Because deep down, the feminine is drawn to the masculine that builds. Not the man who consumes, but the man who creates. That's the secret of NoFap that no one tells you. You don't just become more attractive to women, you become more attractive to life itself. Opportunities start finding you. People start respecting you. Your inner world becomes magnetic to everything that resonates with your higher state. And that's why women sense it first, because they're more attuned to emotional frequency. They are receivers by nature. They pick up on vibration, on confidence, on purpose, long before the logical mind can explain it. So when a girl looks at you and says, "There's something different about you lately," understand. It's not a compliment about your haircut. It's a recognition of your energy evolution. But let's be honest, this path isn't easy. There will be days when your mind tempts you. Days when your discipline feels like a burden. Days when you wonder if it even matters. And that's when you must remember this. The world is full of men who gave in. But history remembers those who didn't. Every king, every creator, every visionary, they all learned the art of control. They all knew that energy is the foundation of greatness. You cannot build an empire if your energy leaks every night. You can't conquer your dreams if you're enslaved by your urges. So when you choose retention, you're not just practicing self-control. You're declaring war on weakness. You're reclaiming your crown as a man who chooses his destiny instead of being controlled by it. And when you do that, the universe notices. And yes, so do women. You've now understood the essence of this power. But understanding is only the beginning. Transformation begins when you live it, because energy, no matter how powerful, means nothing if it isn't directed. NoFap gives you the raw charge, the masculine current. But how you channel it determines who you become. You can store that energy and let it stagnate. Or you can use it to build, to create, to evolve into the man the world quietly waits for. So let's talk about what to do with this energy. Transmute. don't just retain. Many men mistake NoFap for a contest of endurance. They count days like prisoners mark walls, but this isn't about how many days you go. It's about what you become each day. Retention without transmutation is like hoarding treasure in a cave. It doesn't make you rich unless you use it. Transmutation is simple. Take that sexual energy and pour it into motion. Lift weights. Run, write, create. Build a business. Speak your truth. The same life force that fuels lust can also fuel greatness. When you direct it upward, it becomes focus, confidence, and charisma. That's why after a streak, you feel unstoppable, because your energy isn't leaking. It's flowing. Every moment you choose discipline over desire, your nervous system learns to transform pressure into power. And that's the true secret. The men who rise above pleasure become kings of their own biology. Build the pillars of presence. A man's presence is built on 3 invisible pillars: stillness, strength, and direction. Stillness comes from self-control, the ability to sit with your urges without acting on them. Strength comes from resistance. Every time you feel the pull and say no, your mind grows muscles no gym can create. Direction comes from purpose. When your life force knows where it's going, your soul aligns. When all 3 meet, you become a force of nature. You stop chasing, stop proving, stop seeking validation. You simply are. And that's the energy women feel instantly. They can sense stillness in your eyes, strength in your posture, and direction in your words. That's what draws them in. Not manipulation, not fake confidence, but pure masculine presence. A man with presence doesn't need to say he's powerful. He simply exists, and the world feels it. Shift from lust to love, this is the deepest evolution of all. NoFap isn't about hating women or avoiding them or seeing them as a test of your discipline. It's about transforming how you relate to them. When you stop objectifying women, you start appreciating them. You stop needing them to fill your emptiness because you've already filled it yourself. And paradoxically, that's when you attract them most. Because the truth is, the feminine is drawn to love, not lust. When your gaze no longer devours but honors. When your touch no longer takes but gives. When your words no longer chase but connect. You rise from boyhood to manhood, and that's the kind of energy women feel as safety, respect, and depth. So remember this, the point of NoFap isn't to gain power over women. It's to gain power over yourself. Because when you master your own energy, you no longer need to chase. You simply attract. The quiet power of focus. In the modern world, men are drowning in distractions. Every scroll, every notification, every click steals a drop of your attention. And attention is energy. When you practice NoFap, you're not just protecting your seed, you're protecting your focus. You begin to see how much of your time and potential was leaking into the void of instant gratification. Slowly, the noise fades. The fog clears, and suddenly you can see again. You start noticing the small details. The way sunlight hits your skin. The way your mind sharpens during work. The way silence becomes your friend. You realize that the real pleasure was never in release. It was in mastery. In being so deeply present in life that you no longer need escape. That's when your NoFap energy transforms into something divine. A quiet, unstoppable focus that builds empires. Reclaiming the warrior spirit throughout history, men have been warriors, creators, protectors. But in the digital age, many have lost that fire. Their battles are fought with impulses instead of swords. Their energy wasted on pixels instead of purpose. When you start NoFap, you awaken that dormant warrior again. You start walking differently, not arrogantly, but intentionally. You start speaking differently, not loudly, but clearly. You stop living as a victim of your instincts and start living as a master of your mind. That's why this journey feels spiritual, because it's the modern initiation of manhood. Every urge you overcome is a battle won. Every craving you master is another piece of your soul reforged. And that transformation is what radiates from you. The strength of a man who has faced himself and won. That's what women sense. That's what people respect. That's what makes you magnetic. How to apply this energy daily. Here's how to live it every day. Morning. Meditate or journal. Connect to your breath and body. Remind yourself, my energy is sacred. Movement. Exercise like a warrior. Push your limits. Let that built-up energy refine you through motion. Creation. Build something. Anything. Write, code, paint, learn. Use your fire to create, not consume. Discipline. Stay mindful of your triggers. Screens, isolation, boredom. When temptation arises, breathe deeply and redirect. Remember, you are in control. Purpose. Every night, reflect on your direction. Are you moving towards something meaningful? Because if your energy has no purpose, it will turn against you. By repeating this cycle, you don't just practice NoFap, you live it. You integrate it into every fiber of your being until it becomes effortless, natural, powerful. The hidden gift. Emotional depth. Most men don't realize this. When you stop numbing yourself with pleasure, you start feeling again. You feel pain sharper, joy deeper, silence louder, and that's not a weakness. That's your soul waking up. NoFap doesn't just make you strong, it makes you whole. Because every time you avoid your emotions through release, you're suppressing your humanity. But when you face them, the loneliness, the craving, the hunger for meaning, you discover your true self underneath it all. And once you've met that self, once you've looked your demons in the eye and chosen to keep walking, no external validation can compare. That's what spiritual men mean when they say NoFap raises your vibration. It's not magic, it's integrity. You stop running and start being, and that kind of man, calm, centered, emotionally aware, is rare. That's the kind of man women feel safe around, because safety isn't just protection, it's presence. And presence is born from mastery over self. Becoming a beacon as your streak grows, you'll start noticing something strange. People look to you differently, not because of status, not because of fame, but because of energy. You become a beacon in a world addicted to noise. Your calmness becomes contagious. Your discipline becomes magnetic. Your focus becomes leadership, and this isn't arrogance, it's alignment. When a man is aligned, he stops searching for meaning and starts radiating it, and women, the intuitive mirrors of the universe, pick up on that immediately. They'll test you, challenge you, admire you, because they want to see if your energy is real. And when it is, they'll respect it more than words can describe. The philosophy of retention at its core, NoFap is not about suppression. It's about transformation. It's about choosing the path of discipline in a world that worships distraction. It's about saying no to the easy path so you can walk the one that few dare to. It's about realizing that pleasure is not the goal. Purpose is. Because the man who chases pleasure loses himself. But the man who chases purpose finds everything, including pleasure, but in its purest form. Retention teaches you to value yourself, to protect your essence, to treat your energy as sacred currency, spent only on creation and connection, not addiction and escape. That's the deeper spiritual truth. You were not born to waste your fire. You were born to light the world, the call to growth. So what now? You've heard the stories, the science, the soul behind this journey, but all of it means nothing unless you act, because the world doesn't need more men who talk about energy. It needs men who embody it. Men who walk with quiet strength. Men who lead with calm confidence. Men who live with purpose and direction. That's who you're becoming. That's the man you were always meant to be. When you choose NoFap, you're not just changing a habit. You're rewriting your destiny. You're declaring that your energy belongs to your dreams, not your distractions. And when you live that way, when every breath, every glance, every action is infused with purpose, the world shifts around you. People notice. Opportunities unfold. And yes, girls sense it instantly. Because what they're really sensing isn't just your NoFap energy. It's your integrity, your power, your aliveness. They sense the man who has reclaimed his throne. The man who carries both restraint and strength. The man whose eyes no longer plead but promise. Promise of stability. Promise of depth. Promise of life lived with purpose. That's the ultimate magnetism. Not tricks, not techniques, but truth. The truth of a man who has faced himself and emerged radiant. So hold your power, refine it. Express it through action, compassion, creation, and courage. Because the world needs men who shine from within. And you are one decision away from becoming that light. Final reflection. The return of the king. There comes a day in every man's life when he realizes he's been asleep, distracted, numb, empty. And when he finally awakens, he doesn't just rise. He returns. NoFap is that return. The return to power, purpose, and presence. It's the silent revolution happening inside millions of men who refuse to live small lives anymore. When you walk this path, you don't just gain attraction, you gain alignment. Your body, mind, and spirit become one. You stop surviving and start creating. You stop reacting and start leading. That's what the world feels when you enter a room. That's what women sense when they meet your eyes. It's not magic. It's not mystery. It's mastery. The mastery of self. The greatest power a man can ever hold. So go out there, brother. Walk tall, live with purpose. Guard your energy like a king guards his crown. And remember, your light doesn't need to scream. It simply shines.